जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोधनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनातीरावनचारी जमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे everyone हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Gauranithaya ki, Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Ju ki, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Ju ki, Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudeva ki, Gaura Bhakta Vrinde Hari 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 Bol. Yes.
Hare Krishna. All right? For the first time, I was introduced to Amarendra Prabhu and Arjun Sakha Prabhu, both brothers, some years ago, when they had come with their parents to Pune. So your parents are here, they can also stand up in their places. Prabhu, you can kindly get up in their place. Your good wife, Mataji, Mataji is there. Once you can stand up, they all want to see you, who you are, Amarendra Prabhu and Arjun Sakha Prabhu's mother and father. So they live in Bombay, right? They are 6 months in Bombay, 6 months in Vrindavan. Yeah. So they are 6 months in Bombay, 6 months in Vrindavan. So they stayed here for 2-3 days. I have been in touch with Amarendra Prabhu through letters, but once I had invited him to Pune, so both parents, they came with their 2 sons here. That is the time I got to get introduced to them personally. So I came to know that they had very intimate personal association with His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. When these 2 boys were small kids, school-going kids, correct, no? At that time they were in school. So His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj is very famous for his powerful kirtans and cultivating disciples personally and very intensely. So they had become seriously practicing devotees. And both these sons, they were also in Vrindavan, where they got association of His Grace Aindra Prabhu also. So later on, both of them got initiated by His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj, Param Puja Radha Govind Maharaj. So they have been practicing Krishna consciousness right from young age, very powerfully. And when they had come to Pune, I took them to my sister's house, where they did a very powerful kirtan. One was playing mridangam, one was singing, and although we were only a group of 5-6 of us, it was so powerful. At that time, I had told Arjun Sakha Prabhu that this time Amarendra Prabhu is only speaking all the lectures, next time you also should speak. I had requested him that time. But I didn't know who Arjun Sakha Prabhu was until I went to America. In America, in my travels, I traveled from Boston to Brooklyn to New Jersey. Then I go to other places like Washington of DC and Delaware, and I also go to Baltimore and Texas State also, like Austin and Dallas and Houston and San Diego and San Jose and LA and Seattle. So in all these places where I traveled, many of the Hindi will be down. अच्छा, हिंदी में जो प्रवचन है नीचे हॉल में होने वाला है, हाँ? और इधर प्रभु जी इंग्लिश में देने वाले हैं प्रवचन. ऑल राइट. प्रभु जी विल बी स्पीकिंग इन इंग्लिश. जिनको हिंदी में सुनना हो आप नीचे ग्राउंड फ्लोर में भक्तिवेदांता कम्युनिटी हॉल में लेक्चर होगा, आप उधर आप सुनेंगे. ठीक है. So in my travels I found that actually I reach out to three type of students in America. One is Indians who have gone to America for MS studies or PhD. So that's one type of category I reach out to. Second category is the children of the congregation in America, those who are born in America, but they're Indian kids. Most of them have American accent also. And the third category is the Western-bodied people, those who are born and brought up in the West, Western-bodied. So the second category which I told you, the children born of Indian parents in America, they are not a very, easy people to cultivate because they're grown up in American ambience of American culture. And those who are living at home and taken Krishna consciousness from their parents' side, they are still preserving, maintaining. And all of them, when I travel in America, I could see that for them, their hero is Arjun Sakha Prabhu. They all told me that I am meeting somebody in New Jersey and Delaware, and I asked him, what is your inspiration? They say, Arjun Sakha Prabhu in Seattle, living in Seattle. So he has been inspiring the kids in America very much, which is very, very important service to do, because many parents are concerned about the culture of their children in West, because the children won't listen to parents once they grow to teenage. So Arjun Sakha Prabhu is actually preaching to the teenage students, not only in Seattle, in many other parts of America. He has given hundreds of lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam and also on the holy name. Many of us are familiar with Amarendra Prabhu. Eventually you will also become more familiar with Arjun Sakha Prabhu also. So he studied in New Jersey. He did his master's in information systems, and currently he is settled in Seattle. So when I had gone to Seattle also, there was a group of 40-50 children. From children to the youth kids, all of them. So when I met them all personally, they all told me that we always look forward for his classes. So he's a very, very inspiring devotee, not only for the knowledge, but also for his culture of Vaishnava, and also for his devotion. And he has a very firm faith in the holy name. He gives many seminars on how to deepen our faith in the holy name and in the study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it would be very great for us, it's an opportunity for us to have him in Pune. And we had actually fixed many programs. One or two programs we had to cancel despite his health due to extensive travels. He still has agreed to do most of the programs in Pune. So he's going to be with us. So let us welcome Arjun Sakha Prabhu along with his parents to Shri Shri Radha Vandam Chandra support. Hari Bo! Hari Bo! Hari Bo! तो आप किसी को हिंदी में सुनना हो, आप नीचे चले जाइए, भक्तिवेदांता कम्युनिटी हॉल में आपके लिए अनुवाद आपको मिलेगा उधर. ठीक है.
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनेति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्यछविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेमरसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की Before I begin, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude at the lotus feet of Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. If not for Prabhupada, I think most of us would not be here on a Sunday morning to hear about Sri Krishna. So we all not just owe our gratitude, but I think we all owe our life to Srila Prabhupada for what he has done. Secondly, I offer my very humble, respectful obeisances to my worshipable spiritual master, Sri Srimad Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj, and to all the wonderful, glorious disciples of Srila Prabhupada who are traveling around the world in their old age, preaching the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And finally, my most heartfelt gratitude to His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu for very kindly inviting me here to this temple of Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. As far as qualification is concerned, I have no qualification. As our Acharya has explained, Yogyata vichare kichu nahi pai तुम्हारा करुणा सारा करुणा ना होइले कांधिया कांधिया प्राण ना राखे बोआरा योग्यता विचारे किछु नहीं पाए. If I see my qualification in front of all the brahmacharis and all the devotees headed by His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, I have no adhikar, no qualification to sit here. योग्यता विचारे किच्छु नाही पाए, but तुम्हारा करुणा sir. Devotees are very kind that you all have placed me here and made me speak something about Sri Krishna. करुणा ना होइले कांधिया कांधिया प्राणना राखी बोवार. our only support and only hope are the devotees. If the devotees don't shower mercy, then seldom can we make any progress on this path of Krishna consciousness. So I offer my very respectful gratitude and obeisances million times at the lotus feet of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. My brother and I, Amarendra Prabhu and myself, we have grown up hearing the classes of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, His Grace Gauranga Prabhu, and all these stalwarts who are there in our movement. So I feel very fortunate to be here in the holy presence of Prabhuji. And also before I begin, I want to beg for the best wishes and prayers of all the devotees. If I make any mistakes, if I make any flaws in my presentation, kindly as Saragrahi Vaishnavas, please forgive me. I'm still small, I'm still learning. And if there are any mistakes, please feel free to come to me and tell me what the mistakes are so that I make sure I don't commit them in the near future. When His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu came to Seattle, the Seattle devotees, the Seattle Vasis, we were also fortunate because Prabhuji mentioned that of all his travels in North America, Seattle was the only place where he stayed 2 days. All the other places was half a day, 1 day max. But for Seattle, Prabhuji spent 2 days. And personally, it was so uplifting and so motivating. I still remember when we went to the airport to pick up Prabhuji. The flight landed at about 10:30 Pacific time in the morning. And the moment Prabhuji got into the car, he opened his laptop. And I was thinking, Prabhuji has just traveled for about good 2-3 hours. And immediately he entered the car, he opened the laptop and started typing something. And I realized he started preparing for his next class. And dear devotees, I was amazed. I was amazed when I got to know that day, Prabhuji served 4 classes. At 10:30 he landed. At 12 o'clock he gave a corporate talk at Microsoft campus. 2:45 in the afternoon he gave a talk at Amazon headquarters. 5:30 in the evening he gave a talk University of Washington. And 7:30 on time, punctual, he was there in the temple for Nectar of Instruction class. I was thinking to myself, I cannot do this. I'm in my 20s, but I don't have so much spiritual strength to serve 4 classes. And Prabhuji effortlessly served 4 classes. And next day again, as usual, 4:30, he was up for his chanting to motivate all of us. And when Prabhuji gave his class at ISKCON Seattle, Prabhuji made a very interesting point that I just want to share here with the devotees. Prabhuji mentioned that our Seattle temple is called as the Vedic Cultural Center. It's called as VCC. And Prabhuji mentioned that when this temple was coming up, he got the inspiration to name this NVCC from the ISKCON Seattle temple. So that was VCC, and this is NVCC, New Vedic Cultural Center. So I almost feel that, just like we say, Srimati Radharani is the original and Lakshmi is an expansion. Likewise, I feel Seattle is the original and NVCC is just an expansion of it. So I'm still very happy to be here, quote unquote, at ISKCON Seattle. Prior to coming here, I was speaking to my brother, Amarendra Prabhu. And I'm very inspired to share this before we get started. My brother, he mentioned that of all his travels around the world, wherever he has been, he said there are 4 temples where he has had the best experience as a servant speaker. Because all that a speaker audience. अगर audience ना आए तो कथा बंद हो जाती है. If audience don't turn up, the katha is cancelled. Even if the speaker doesn't turn up, another speaker can be made to sit. But if yadi audience na aaye, if audience don't come, Gaura Premanande. So he was telling me, as a speaker, There are 4 temples where he has had the best experience. He said number 4 on the list was the Melbourne Mahaprabhu Temple in Australia. He said number 3 on that list was Hillsborough, North Carolina, in the US. Number 2 on the list, he said, was ISV, ISKCON of Silicon Valley, which is headed by Sripad Vaisheshika Prabhu. And he said number 1 on the list is NVCC. I am saying this in front of Radha Vrindavan Chandra because they are Sakshi. I am not making it up, but this is exactly what he said. He said this is the best place as far as Katha is concerned, as far as Shastric understanding is concerned. Just like during Mahaprabhu's time, Navadvip was the school of learning. People from different places would come to Navadvip and they would learn. Similarly, in my humble opinion, in my 2 cents, I feel NVCC holds a similar prominent position in our ISKCON movement, where Shastra is prioritized so much that all the devotees are so erudite and so scholarly. And all the thanks and all the credit goes to His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. So having said this, we now begin our discussion. Today is the auspicious occasion of Ekadashi, Utpanna Ekadashi. And in the 1970s, Srila Prabhupada was once there in his room in Los Angeles. Very interesting story, probably not recorded or documented anywhere. I happened to hear this from Badri Narayan Maharaj from San Diego. He mentioned that Prabhupada was once there in his room, 1970, Los Angeles. And Prabhupada took all his disciples back to his Grahastha days. Prabhupada said that back in the day when he was a Grahastha, he had one Muslim friend. And many times Prabhupada would invite this Muslim friend for prasad. Because you see, the Katha starts with Shravanam, but 10 minutes into the Katha, that Shravanam becomes Snoranam. It transitions to sleeping. So Katha most times doesn't work. Kirtan may or may not, but Prasadam definitely works. Whether India or whether America, Prasadam definitely works. 100% track record. So Prabhupada thought, why not invite him to Prasad? So many times Prabhupada would invite this Muslim friend for Prasad. And one time when Prabhupada invited him, they sat together and they chalked out the date. On this day, please come home and honor Prasad. And everything was set. And now when this Muslim friend left the house of Abhay Babu, when he was a Grahastha, Prabhupada said, that day is an Ekadashi. I didn't see the calendar, that day is an Ekadashi. Now no WhatsApp, no Instagram, Satyam, someone's phone rang. No email. So Prabhupada couldn't text. There was no way he could tell his Muslim friend. And after a few days, this Muslim friend again, he came to the house of Prabhupada because lunch was scheduled. He came and Prabhupada said, I am sorry. I cannot offer you grains because today is Ekadashi. And this Muslim friend said, thank God. I also follow Ekadashi. Prabhupada said, you are a Muslim and you follow Ekadashi. He said, yes, I follow Ekadashi. Prabhupada said, I am not able to understand. Muslim following Ekadashi. What is the rahasya? Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. It is special knowledge. So this Muslim friend, he explained. Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Ju ki, Shri Gaura Nitai ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju ki. So this Muslim friend, he said, once when I was walking on the road, I heard a few people laughing. So naturally he went little inside the forest from where he could hear the sound. And he saw a few ghosts were laughing. This is a real story. Prabhupada said it. He saw a few ghosts laughing. So he went inside. And he asked these ghosts, why are you laughing? And these ghosts were laughing and they told this Muslim person, tomorrow, this so-and-so rich person is going to ride a horse, this raw horse is going to stumble, the horse is going to fall down, the man sitting on the horse will also fall down, and his head will hit on the rock, his head will crack, and he will die, and lo and behold, he is going to become a ghost like us. Ha ha ha. So they were happy that this person is going to become a ghost. So now this Muslim friend, he thought, maybe I should go and tell that rich person. I should warn him that this is what your fate is. But what happened was, by the time this Muslim person could go, the wife of that person, she said that sadly, that person, the rich person, has passed away. So after a few days, when this Muslim person was again walking, he again heard some sound. And this time he heard some crying sound. So he again went inside. And it were the same ghosts. And now they were crying. So this person said, wait a minute. Everything happened according to your plan, is it not? They said, no. That's why we are lamenting. He said, wait. Didn't that rich person ride on the horse? They said, yes. Didn't the horse stumble? They said, yes. Didn't he fall? They said, yes. Didn't his head hit the ground? They said, yes. Didn't he die? They said, yes. Didn't he become a ghost? No. This person said, wait. Everything happened according to your plan. He rode on the horse fell down, the person fell down, the person died. He should have become a horse. The ghost said, no. That's why we are lamenting. The ghost said, that day, that rich person had a fight with his wife. He had a fight with his wife, and because he had a fight with his wife, as protest, he decided not to eat. And dear devotees, that day happened to be Ekadashi. That day happened to be Ekadashi. He fought with his wife. That day happens to be Ekadashi. He dies and he leaves this world on the day of Ekadashi doing Nirjal. And now the ghost, they narrate Ekadashi Mahima to this Muslim person. So this Muslim person, when he came back to Prabhupada, he said, from that day on, he decided, I will also do Ekadashi. Shri Utpanna Ekadashi ki. This day is called as Hari Vasara. Ekadashi. Dasha means 10. And Ekadasha, 1 plus 10, 11. Ekadashi is that day where we engage all our 11 senses. 5 working, 5 knowledge acquiring, and 1 mind in hearing and chanting. Ekadashi is 11. So we use all our 11 senses, including our mind, in chanting and hearing. So this is the best day for hearing and chanting. And thanks to Srila Prabhupada that all of us have gathered here to chant and dance on this auspicious occasion of Shri Utpanna Ekadashi. Srila Narottam Das Thakur explains in his Prem Chandrika, Prem Bhakti Chandrika, Anakatha na bolibo, Anakatha na shunibo, Anakatha na bolibo, Anakatha na shunibo, Sakali ko ribo paramartha, Sakali ko ribo paramartha. Prarthana karo e sada, lalasa abhishta katha. Iha vina sakali anartha, iha vina sakali anartha. What is Srila Narottam Das Thakur saying? Anak katha na bolibo, anak katha na shunibo. Narottam Das Thakur is saying, I have taken this oath, I have taken this vow that I will not hear anything that is devoid of Shri Krishna. And I will not speak anything that is devoid of Shri Krishna. Sakali koribo paramartha. Everything that I speak and hear will be in connection with paramartha. Prarthana koroe sada, lalasa abhishta katha. He's saying, I pray eternally. Many times when we come to the temple, Our prayers are very different from what the acharyas have given. Our prayers are dhanam dehi, vittam dehi, graham dehi, in that graham grahini dehi. Our prayers are a little different. But our acharyas are teaching what to pray. Prarthana karo e sada lalasa abhishta katha. We have to pray that may my ears hear that katha, that increase my attachment to Radha and Krishna. Increase my attachment to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Iha bina sakale anartha. Iha bina sakale anartha. Narottam Das Thakur saying, apart from this, I find everything to be anartha. Anything that is devoid of Krishna consciousness, he says, I find them to be anartha. So this Krishna Katha, this Krishna Kirtan is the backbone of Krishna consciousness. We see Prahlad Maharaj makes the same point. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasya, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu, Bhaktische Navalakshanam. Bhaktische Navalakshanam. These are the 9 qualities of bhakti. But it starts with Shravanam. Hearing is the fuel to our chanting. What is the use of having a BMW if there is no petrol in it? What is the use of having a Mercedes if there is no petrol in it? Similarly, chanting is like that BMW. It's like that Mercedes, very valuable, very precious. But hearing Krishna Katha is that fuel that gives inspiration for our bhajan. It gives inspiration to our chanting. If no hearing, then chanting is mechanical. There is no impetus, no inspiration to chant. So hearing Katha is very important. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, one time Suta Goswami was speaking Gaur Katha. Not Krishna Katha, Gaur Katha. One time Suta Goswami was speaking Gaur Katha to Shaunakadi Rishi. Where? In Naimisharanya. Now please note, this Naimisharanya is different from the Naimisharanya of Bhagavatam. In the land of Mayapur, in Navadvip also there is one Naimisharanya. So Suta Goswami was speaking Gaur Katha to Shaunakadi Rishi. It's the same setting, same speaker, same audience, pretty much the same place, but the content is different. There it was Krishna Katha, here it is Gaur Katha. He was speaking Gaur Katha. Lord Shiva got to know. Lord Shiva got to know that Suta Goswami is speaking Gaur Katha. Lord Shiva became so eager. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He became so eager to hear Gaur Katha that he sat on his Nandi. And he started going on his Nandi to Naimisharanya so that he can hear Gaur Katha. But after one point he realized that my Nandi is very slow. If this is the speed in which the Nandi goes, I will reach there only for prasadam. Katha will be done, I will reach only for prasadam. So Lord Shiva realized, this will not work. I have to do something else. He parked his Nandi to the side. He went to Brahmaji. Brahmaji was in penance. All his 4 heads and 8 eyes were completely closed and in penance. Lord Shiva went to Brahmaji and said, my dear Brahma, you are anyway doing penance. Your Hamsa is just standing. Your swan is just standing. Why don't you give that Hamsa to me? Because I feel the Hamsa will be faster than the Nandi. So Brahmaji, when he heard, he said, "Theek, anyway, I am not using the swan right now. You take the swan." Because we see Brahmaji's order carrier is Hamsa, swan. Just as a side point, we see that Brahmaji always travels in a swan. And a swan is white in color. But now that swan, the order carrier of Brahmaji, that swan is lost. We don't see it outside. We don't see people traveling on a swan. So in Sanskrit, the word for lost is lupta. lupta. We see in Chaitanya Charitamrita this word is used. Kalena Vrindavana keli vartam lupteti tyam khyapaitum vishishya. So the word lost in Sanskrit means lupta. And swan means hansa. So that is why we find there is a famous German airlines called as Lufthansa. Actually, it is not Lufthansa. It is Lupta, the lost swan of Brahmaji. But that in German has become Lufthansa. It is Lufthansa, the lost swan of Brahmaji. Because that is not seen, they are having a flight. And what is the proof? We say Lufthansa is also white in color, just like the swan. So everything has its origin in Shastra. So Lord Shiva sits on the swan of Brahmaji and he goes to Naimisharanya and starts hearing Katha. Fortunately, he reaches before Prasadam. He starts hearing Katha, and for 7 days, Suta Goswami is drowning everyone in Gaur Katha. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. He is drowning everyone in the nectar of Gaur Katha, and Lord Shiva is with the pot-like ears, he is drinking the nectar of Gaur Katha. And every time Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name is entering the ears of Lord Shiva, his hair is standing on end and tears are flowing from his eyes. Shri Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki. So Lord Shiva is teaching us. This is enthusiasm to hear Katha. And all this nectar, dear devotees, Prabhupada has given in his books. This nectar of Hari Katha, this nectar of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada has given in his books. One time, one disciple, he wrote a letter to Prabhupada from the European countries. He said, Prabhupada, here the book distribution is going excellent, fabulous. We see this is the book marathon time around the world. Those devotees who have been to ISKCON of Silicon Valley, headed by Sripad Vaisheshika Prabhu, would have seen that ISKCON Silicon Valley, the primary service that they have is traveling around and distributing books. So much so that their book, the place where they keep the books, is bigger than even the temple hall. They distribute so many books that area is bigger than even the temple hall. And it's not that the books are just as it is, they also distributed. So we find this disciple of Prabhupada from the European countries, he wrote, Prabhupada, here the book distribution is going excellent. We are first keeping a plate of prasadam, which is free. Free plate of prasadam. They are having the plate of prasadam in their hand, and now when they are having the plate of prasadam, the next counter are the books. So naturally, when we give something free, they also feel, kuch to khareed karna chahiye. We have to purchase something. We should not take anything free. So they take free plate of prasadam and then they come to the book counter. And now they're inspired to buy the book. So Prabhupada, your book distribution is going excellent. Prasadam on one side, book distribution on the other side. When Prabhupada saw this letter, Prabhupada said, excellent. This is my mission. Their hand should be full and their pocket should be empty. Their hand should be full, pocket should be empty. Prabhupada was very humorous. Very witty. See, Rupa Goswami explains of the 26 qualities of Vaishnava, one quality is to be witty, very clever. And Prabhupada could come up with such witty answers. Another time, Prabhupada he landed in London, Heathrow, London airport. And the moment Prabhupada landed, all the reporters, they came. They started showing the mic because this was very foreign to them. Sannyas attire, shaved head, shika, and chanting some mantra and having mridangas and kartal. This was very foreign to them. So the reporters, they came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, they asked many questions. One of the questions they asked was, Swamiji, Can you define hell? Can you define hell? Now, Prabhupada has only 30 seconds to answer. He cannot explain the whole 5th canto of the Bhagavatam. He cannot give a Bhagavatam class. So, Prabhupada had only 30 seconds. The question was, Swamiji, can you describe hell? And Prabhupada very beautifully said, hell? Oh, it is dark, gloomy, and cloudy, just like your London. It is cold, dark, and gloomy, just like your London. Now, of course, we cannot say this. These stunts are performed by expert professionals. Please do not try it at home. Please do not try it at home. Prabhupada could say it. So Prabhupada was very witty, very clever in his replies. So we see Lord Shiva is demonstrating the eagerness to hear Katha. The Katha of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear devotees? Srinath Chakravarti, one of our acharyas, in his Sri Chaitanya Matamanjusha, very beautifully gives a verse that summarizes the whole Krishna consciousness. This is a verse to be by-hearted. Very popular and a verse to be by-hearted. The essence of Krishna consciousness in one verse. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kajitupasanam Brajavadhum Varghenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradhara Napara. What does this say? Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas. Who is our worshipable Lord? Krishna of Vrindavan, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Tadhama Vrindavanam. And what is the most glorious land that the Gaudiyas worship? It is Sri Vrindavan Dham. Whom do we follow? Ramya Kajit Upasanam, the Vrajavadus, the Brajagopis. Prema Pumartho Mahan. What is the ideal that we hold high in life? It is Prema, Krishna Prema. What is the scripture that is dear to the Gaudiyas? It is Srimad Bhagavatam. Who is saying this? Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatra Dharanapara. ये श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु का मत है. मेरा या आपका मत नहीं है, ये श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु का मत है. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's verdict. Tatra dhara na para. Now no one can refute. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying this. So what is the worshipable land? Tad Dhama Vrindavanam. It is Sri Vrindavan Dham. And we see in Kartik, so many devotees travel to the land of Vrindavan to seek inspiration, to seek motivation. This land, Vrindavan, is so special. Van means forest and Vrinda means Vrinda Devi. So just like at the start we made this point that Radharani is the root and Lakshmi is an expansion. Similarly, Vrinda is the original and Tulasi is an expansion. In Vrindavan, Vrinda Devi is the original. We see we have Vrinda Kund, Vrinda Devi temple. In Kammevan also we have Vrinda Devi. So Vrinda Devi is the original and Tulsi is an expansion. We see this place is also called as Vraja. Many times devotees say, where are you going? I am going to Vraja. Or the V in Braj Bhasha becomes B. So Braja. Vraja becomes Braja. Vaikunta becomes Baikuntha. It's the Braj way of saying. Just like in Bengali, Srila Prabhupada would also say, the Ya becomes Ja. Yamuna becomes Jamuna. So similarly, Vraja in Braj Bhasha becomes Braja. Why is it called as Vraja? Many reasons. But one very prominent reasons that our Acharyas quote is Vraja means to walk. Vraja means to walk. So it is that place where people are constantly walking. Vrindavan Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, Not Govardhan Parikrama by auto, by foot. Sometimes we start by foot, and by the time we reach Puchirika Lota, we end up entering into an auto. But we are talking about foot. So Vrindavan Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, Barsana Parikrama, Radhakund Parikrama, Shamkund Parikrama. That place where people are constantly walking is called Braja, because Vraja means to walk. At the same time, in Sanskrit, there is a saying, Vishasya Visham Aushadam. Generally in Ayurveda, back in the day, when a person would have poison in his body, when a snake bites and there is poison, what is the way to remove that poison? It is to inject another poison. Vishasya Visham Aushadam. One wish that is injected acts like a medicine to remove the existing wish. Vishasya Visham Aushadam. Similarly, all of us are filled with these three guns: Tamogun, Rajogun, and Sattva, in different proportions. For some, Sattva may be high, for some, Tamas may be high, and for some, Raja may be high, Rajogun. So taking the example of Vishasya Visham Aushadam, to remove one wish, we put another wish. Similarly, we all have Rajogun. And how to remove that Rajogun? A very poetic way the sadhus explain is by putting Vraj, Raj. One Raj that goes inside ends up removing another Raj. The Vraj, Raj removes the Rajogun inside. It's a poetic expression. But actually, if we see, it's not just a poetic expression. It's more than that. The Supreme Lord as Narayan, Mahavishnu, he doesn't eat dirt. But when he is there as Krishna in Vrindavan, he sits down at Brahmand Ghat and very beautifully he eats every dirt in his mouth. And everything is there in his mouth, and his mouth is like a balloon. And when Maya is coming to him and asking, Lala, did you eat dirt? And Krishna is saying, Everyone is saying, Balaram is saying, you ate dirt. All the friends are saying, are they all lying? And Krishna, very royally, Krishna says, Naham bhakshitavanambe sarve mithya bisamshaya. Oh Maya, Naham bhakshitavanambe, I have not eaten dirt. Sarve mithya bisamshaya. They are just saying like that. I have not eaten dirt. Please note, the absolute truth is lying. Satyam param dhimai is lying. Sarve mithya bisamshaya, he's saying. Narayan doesn't eat dirt, but Krishna sits down and eats the Raj. So this Raj is very glorious. Braj Raj is very glorious. Our acharyas explain one of the 5 entities who give entrance to Vrindavan Dham is Braj Raj. When Akrura came to Vrindavan, he was rolling on the ground, seeing Braj Raj, seeing the footprints of Krishna. This is very special, Braj Raj. And we see that Krishna ate Braj Raj, which Narayan did not. And as Srila Rupa Goswami explains in the Upadeshamrit, in the Nectar of Instruction, greater than Mathura is Vrindavan. Greater than Vrindavan is Govardhan. Greater than Govardhan is Radhakund. Similarly, Sripad Raghunath Das Goswami in his Stavavali explains, this holds true even for Raj. This holds true even for dust. Greater than the Raj of Mathura is the Raj of Braj. Greater than the Raj of Braj is the Raj of Giriraj. And greater than the Raj of Giriraj is the Raj of Radhakund. Raghunath Das Goswami doesn't stop here. Sripad Raghunath Das Goswami says, the dust of Radhakund is so glorious that the shadow of one dust particle of Radhakund is more glorious than Vrindavan and Govardhan put together. The shadow, not dust particle, the shadow of one dust particle of Radhakund is so glorious, it's more glorious than Vrindavan and Giriraj put together. And how fortunate are we? By the mercy of Prabhupada, we have got entrance into Radhakund. How fortunate are we? If not for Srila Prabhupada, how many of us would have heard about Vrindavan? Leave alone Giriraj and leave alone Radhakund. Next to impossible. This land is very special. And this land of Vrindavan, how do we understand this land of Vrindavan? We understand it through an example. I'll try to give a very modern day example. When a lady gets married, she respects the brothers of her husband, but she loves only the husband. Correct? She respects the brothers of the husband, but loves only the husband. She is chaste only to the husband. She loves only the husband, but she respects the brothers of the husband. Similarly, Vrindavan is like our husband. And all other dhams are like the brothers of that husband. We respect all other dhams, but we are chaste and loyal to Brajadham. This is not fanaticism. This is not sectarianism. This is Mahaprabhu's teaching. Tad dhama Vrindavanam. He says Vrindavan dham is the heart and soul of the Gaudiyas. So for us, Vrindavan is like the husband. And all other dhams, they are like the brothers. We respect all of them. Pandharpur dham, Ayodhya dham, all these dhams we go and we respect. But in our heart, we are convinced, rock solid faith, that Vraj is where I belong. Back home, back to Godhead, as Sripad Aindra Prabhu would say. Back home, back to Godhead means back home, back to Vrindavan. Back home, back to Golok Vrindavan. So that is our goal and that is our desire. And we see this Vrindavan is not just a Sthan Tirtha. It's not just a tract of land. Oh, it's in Uttar Pradesh. Vrindavan kahan hai? UP mein hai. It's not just a tract of land. It's not just Sthan Tirtha. It is Bhav Tirtha. Vrindavan is Bhav Tirtha. One time Srila Prabhupada was on a morning walk in Paris, 1975. And Prabhupada was walking with his disciples. And at one time, Prabhupada just stopped. He just stopped walking. And very transcendentally, Prabhupada was swaying. So now the disciples who were standing behind, they were waiting. What is the Bhaktivedanta purport of this? What is Prabhupada experiencing? And after a few minutes, Prabhupada opened his eyes and Prabhupada said, this breeze of Paris reminds me of Vrindavan. Where is Prabhupada physically? Paris. But where is his heart? Vrindavan. Prabhupada said, this breeze of Paris is reminding me of Vrindavan Dham. At all places we can see Vrindavan. In the Gulf, there is a place called as Dubai. We all have heard Dubai. It's not Dubai, it's Dobhai, Krishna Balaram. For the Gaudiyas, it is Dobhai, Krishna Balaram. We can see Krishna consciousness everywhere. In Italy, there are two prominent cities, Milan and Rome. What does this mean? Milan means to meet. So when Radha and Krishna meet, Milan, the Rome, the hair on their body is standing on end. When there is Radha Krishna Milan, the Rome, the hair on their body is standing. Vrindavan, Krishna consciousness can be seen anywhere. Sthavara jangama dekhena, dekhe tara murti, sarvatra hoye nija ishta deva spurti. Based on the consciousness that we develop, we can see Krishna and Brajadham everywhere. In a few days, we are celebrating the most auspicious appearance of Param Pujyapat Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj ki. And Maharaj also carries the same mood. carries the same mood of Vrindavan. One time, one newcomer, he came to Maharaj and he was a chess player. He was an Indian, a newcomer, and a chess player. He came to Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj and said, Swamiji, how did you get attracted to our Krishna? He was Indian. So, Swamiji, how did you get attracted to our Krishna? And look at Maharaj's response. When I heard it, I was like, wow. Srila Radhanath Maharaj, when he heard this question, Srila Radhanath Maharaj said, this white boy got checkmated by your black king of Raja. Because that person was a chess player, Maharaj gave a reply in chess language. This white boy was checkmated by your black king of Raja. This is the quality of Paramhamsa, pure Vaishnavas. They always carry grudge. They always carry a grudge. They don't have to be reminded. It's there in their heart. It's there in their heart. And we see that this land of Vrindavan is an expression of Radharani's heart. Vrindavan is an expression of Radharani's heart. How? When Akrura came to Vrindavan to take both the brothers out, Krishna and Balaram, the Brajavasis were crying. Maya was crying. Baba was crying. Rohini Maya was crying. Sudam, Dam, Vasudam, Kinkini, Stoka Krishna, Ujjwal, Madhumangal, Arjun Sakha. Arjun Sakha is one friend of Krishna. The gopis, headed by Srimati Radharani, they were all crying because Krishna and Balaram were being taken out. And there we find the gopis, they curse and criticize Brahmaji. Aho Vedata Tavana Kvachiddaya. Oh Vidata, oh Creator, Tavana Kvachiddaya. You didn't show any mercy on us. Brahmaji is scratching his head. Mind you, he has 4 heads. He is scratching his head. What did I do? The gopis are saying, why did you create these eyelids? Because of these eyelids, we have to blink so many times, which means there is a possibility that Krishna would have been there in front of us, but because of your faulty creation, our eyes were closing and we couldn't see Krishna. What high-class mood. So the Braja gopis were crying, friends were crying, devotees in Vatsalya Ras were crying. And primarily, we see that Srimati Radharani was crying so much that her heart was burning in separation. Her heart was completely burning in separation. And that heat of separation from her heart is what we see in Vrindavan as the hot weather. When we go to Vrindavan during summers, 45, 47 Celsius, about 115, 120 Fahrenheit. Why is Vrindavan so hot? Because this heat is a transformation of Radharani's heart. Radharani is experiencing so much viraha from Krishna. That heat of separation is coming out as the weather. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu would say something very fabulous, very interesting. He would say, when Krishna was being taken out, the Brajavasis, they cried so much. Naturally, because they were crying so much, the tears were falling on the ground. And as the tears were falling on the ground, it started forming a salt bed. And this is why, till this date, Vrindavan has salty water. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu would say, this salty water is nothing but that salt that we find is from the tears of the Brajavasis. They cried so much that the tears touched the ground and ended up forming a salt bed. And that is why Braj till this date has salty water. So the next time we go to Vrindavan Dham and we take little salty water, let us remind ourselves, this is not normal salt, But this is the salt from the tears of the Brajavasis who cried in separation from Shri Krishna. Shri Vrindavan Chandranath ki. This land of Vrindavan is very special. But the question arises, how do we develop this attraction? How do we develop this attraction for Vrindavan? Prabhupada was there on a morning walk in Laguna Beach. And one 17-year-old, he joined the morning walk. He had some questions to ask to Prabhupada. So he asked Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj, can I join? And Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj said yes. So this 17-year-old boy, he joined the morning walk. And Prabhupada was walking and Tamal Krishna Maharaj looked at the 17-year-old boy, indicating, ask. But he was shivering so much looking at Prabhupada that the question was not coming out. The question was not coming out. So Prabhupada finished one way of walking. And now Prabhupada turned. And now he was again walking back to the temple. And Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj looked at this boy, indicating, ask. Time is running, ask. But he was not able to muster courage. He was shivering, looking at Prabhupada. The question is not coming out. Prabhupada sat in the car, closed the door. Finally, this boy, he gathered some courage and said, Prabhupada, I have a question. What is that one thing that I should do by which I develop attraction for Krishna consciousness? There are so many things in the Shastra. What is that one thing by doing which I will develop attraction? Now we will expect Prabhupada would have quoted some verse, or he would have given 1, 2, 3, 4, some points. But Prabhupada didn't say anything. Prabhupada just looked at this boy and said one word, that's it. Do we want to know what Prabhupada said? Srila Prabhupada just said one word. Prabhupada said, desire. By desire. That's it. Prabhupada didn't say anything. Prabhupada rolled the glass, looked at the devotee who was driving and said, chalo, let's go. Only one word, desire. But this one word carries so much potency, dear devotees. By desire we come into this world, and by desire we leave this world. It all starts with desire. We desire to come to this world, and only by desire will we quit this world and go back to Krishna. It all boils down to this one word, desire. And one such personality, it's 9:25. What is 5 minutes? One such personality who is a literal personification of dovetailing one's desires. One such personality who is a personification of dovetailing one's desires completely for the service of Krishna, completely for the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, is the personality by the name Srila Jayananda Prabhu. Less spoken about, but I want to end our discussion by speaking something about Srila Jayananda Prabhu and purifying my tongue. Srila Jayananda Prabhu was such an exceptional devotee. He was an engineer, a mechanical engineer from Ohio State University, very qualified. He was working in a corporate job. Again, to reiterate, the reason we are discussing about Jayananda Prabhu is we spoke about desires. So how Jayananda Prabhu had all his desires for Radha and Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. He was an engineer working in a corporate job. But when he met Prabhupada, he was so inspired that he left his job. The day he got initiated, he closed his bank account. And as Guru Dakshina, generally when we get initiated, we go around. Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi, we ask devotees. And how much do we collect? Hundreds, at the max maybe 1,000 rupees for our Gurudev. Jayananda Prabhu emptied his bank account and gave $50,000 as Guru Dakshina to Srila Prabhupada. $50,000. Now you can go online and do the calculation how much it is in Indian rupees. Huh? 35 lakhs. 35 lakhs Guru Dakshina. How many of us can volunteer to give? Hardly anyone. Hardly anyone. $50,000 as Dakshina. And now he didn't want to do a corporate job. Why? Because he didn't want to work 9 to 5. He wanted a job where he's the boss. He's the Malik. He's the boss. No one can tell him anything. Now, who will give you that job where you can work according to your times? Doesn't happen. So he decided to drive a taxi. Because taxi means you can drive whenever you want. Now, please note, a mechanical engineer from America is driving a taxi. Why? To serve his Gurudev. All night, Jayananda Prabhu would drive taxi. And morning, 3:30, 3:45, he would be there in the temple for Mangalarati. All night he would drive taxi. Very handy and very versatile devotee. Any electricity work, any plumbing work, car broke down, making Rath Yatra carts. Jayananda Prabhu was jack of all trades. He could do everything. And to add to that, he was a temple president. He would practically do every single thing to help Prabhupada. And such a sweet devotee. He is few years even senior to Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So when Tamal Krishna Maharaj was getting Brahman Diksha, Jayananda Prabhu had already 2 years had passed since Jayananda Prabhu got Brahman. So he was that senior to even Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So he asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you are getting Brahman Diksha, can I also come with you? So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, you are senior, you don't have to ask, please come. So he went inside. Prabhupada looked at Jayananda Prabhu and his typical Prabhupada style, Prabhupada said, why have you come? You are already initiated, why have you come? So Jayananda Prabhu told Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, I am not able to memorize Gayatri mantras. It had been 1 year and Jayananda Prabhu was finding it difficult to memorize. So he told Prabhupada that, I have come here to hear the mantras again from you. Prabhupada said, okay, sit down. And he told the mantras to Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And now it was time for Sripad Jayananda Prabhu. For 30 minutes, Prabhupada was telling the Gayatri mantras and Jayananda Prabhu was struggling. He could do everything, but Sanskrit was something that was not his forte. So after 30 minutes, Prabhupada smiled and Prabhupada said, Jayananda, you are so sweet. Even if you mispronounce, Krishna will accept. And I promise you that. He said, Jayananda, you are so sweet. You have given $50,000 to me as Guru Dakshina. You are driving a taxi. Even if you mispronounce. Please note, Prabhupada said that instruction only once. That doesn't give us the liberty to mispronounce. That was only one-time instruction to one devotee in a specific manner. Not a blanket statement. So Prabhupada said, even if you mispronounce, Krishna will accept. I promise you that. Such a sweet devotee. So as he would drive the taxi, the devotees noticed that his attire was little torn. White shirt and one blue trouser. This is what he would wear every single day. White shirt, blue trouser. So much so that it was torn. When he would drive, his underarms were torn. So devotees, they told Jayananda Prabhu, why don't you get a new pair of dress? He said, no, this is Prabhupada's money. They said, you are only sponsoring to the temple. Because Jayananda Prabhu was the only person who would provide money to the temple. He was the only person who was earning. So they told Jayananda Prabhu, you are only earning and this is for Prabhupada's service. You are driving taxi for Prabhupada. So why don't you buy a new pair? He said, no, I cannot use. This is Krishna's money. This is Prabhupada's money, I cannot use. And finally, they somehow convinced Srila Jayananda Prabhu, and they took him. Please hear this, dear devotees, very carefully. Last few minutes, they took Srila Jayananda Prabhu to a mall. And when they went inside the mall, Jayananda Prabhu was looking for the cheapest, sabse sasta, sasta sundar tikau. He was looking for the cheapest. And finally he saw one shirt and one trouser. And he thought to himself, maybe I can repair my shirt. Let me not buy the shirt, let me just buy the trouser. Let me repair the existing shirt. So he kept the shirt. He picked up the trouser. How much was the trouser for? $10. And Jayananda Prabhu was crying in the mall. This is Prabhupada's money. This is Krishna's money. How can I use $10 on myself? The devotees said, dear Jayananda Prabhu, you are only the person who is giving to the temple. And if you use $10 upon yourself, Prabhupada is not going to be angry because you are using this for driving the cab. And the money that is coming from that you are giving to the temple. So this is also for Prabhupada's service. He said, no, I cannot. And he started crying. Finally, the devotees, they told Jayananda Prabhu, let's do one thing. Let's shoplift, which means steal. Let's steal. These stunts are performed by expert professionals. Please do not try this at home. Please don't go around and shoplift and say, Arjun Sakha Prabhu class में बोले कि चोरी कर सकते हैं तो हम आके चोरी किए. That is not the purport. They decided to shoplift. They tucked in the trouser underneath Jayananda Prabhu's existing shirt. And now what do we expect? Lo and behold, they were exiting and it started beeping. The security caught Jayananda Prabhu. And immediately 911, the cops came. The police came and they arrested Jayananda Prabhu. Jayananda Prabhu was produced in the court. And the judge asked, do you want a lawyer to defend yourself? He said, no, I will defend myself. Why to waste Prabhupada's money? The devotee said, Are Baba, at least use money here. This is to protect yourself. He said, no, this is Prabhupada's money. I will speak for myself. So the judge, he asked, do you plead guilty or not guilty? He said, guilty, sir. I plead guilty. He didn't try to hide. He didn't say, no, I was about to pay, but before paying, they caught me. No wishy-washy. He said, yes, I am guilty. I shoplifted. And whatever punishment you want to give me, you give me. I'm in for it. So the judge, he said, you look like a gentleman. Why did you shoplift? He said, no, I am not a gentleman. I am very untruthful. I am not gentleman. The judge said, you are an engineer. You are a mechanical engineer, which means you are qualified. Why did you shoplift? What was the need? Jayananda Prabhu looked down and tears started flowing from his eyes. Srila Jayananda Prabhu said, my Lord, my father, spiritual father, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he did not have money even to buy a plane ticket. He did not have money even to get into a cargo ship. Some benevolent lady purchased a ticket for him. My Gurudev did not even have money for that. When he entered Jaladuta for 10 days, my father fasted. Till the Jaladuta reached Turkey, Srila Prabhupada was fasting. It's only in Turkey, Captain Pandya got down and brought an electric cooker for Prabhupada and Prabhupada ate something. For 10 days, dear devotees, Prabhupada fasted for all of us. So Jayananda Prabhu said, my Gurudev did not have money to buy a plane ticket. He did not have money for a cargo ship. He did not have money for an electric cooker. He suffered 2 heart attacks. And it was not even a passenger ship, it was a cargo ship. After 37 days with seasickness, he reached Boston Harbor. And my dear Lord, Jayananda Prabhu is saying this to the judge. My dear Lord, Even after he reached America, he did not know whether to go left or right. No GPS, no Alexa, no Siri, no GPS. He didn't know whether to go left or right. He didn't have anything to eat. He didn't have any money. He was at Butler, Pennsylvania at Sally Agrawal's house, but there also he couldn't stay much. Prabhupada stayed overnight in YMCA. In America, YMCA is a gym. Prabhupada stayed overnight in a cold YMCA. And at last, Jayananda Prabhu said, my dear Lord, my father, when he reached Boston Harbor, it was freezing cold. Boston gets very cold in winters. It's the East Coast. Just to give a rough understanding, Boston dips to almost minus 15 to minus 17 Celsius. And that was the time Prabhupada entered Boston. And Jayananda Prabhu said, my dear Lord, why am I saying all this? Because my father, when he entered Boston, he did not have any winter clothes. How can I spend these $10 to buy clothes for myself when my father did not have any clothes? He was ready to bear the biting cold of Boston Harbor, not having any winter clothes. My dear Lord, you please tell me, how can I use these $10 to buy clothes for myself? So selfless. All his desires, Jayananda Prabhu, all his desires were dovetailed to the lotus feet of Prabhupada. When the judge heard this, the judge was in tears. The prosecutor was in tears. So much so that the shop owner, the mall owner, he got up and he said, my dear Lord, we dropped the charges. We dropped the charges. Please let him go. Srila Jayananda Prabhu ki, please let him go, my dear Lord. We didn't know that this was his predicament. We didn't know this was his situation. We didn't know that his father did not have clothes and that's why he shoplifted. And he told Jayananda Prabhu, from now on, whenever you want any clothes, whenever devotees from San Francisco want any clothes, our shop is always open. Red carpet entry, please come. VIP entry. Why are we discussing this? Because we spoke about how Prabhupada said desire. But desire, we get attracted in Krishna consciousness. By desire, we love Vrindavan Dham. And Jayananda Prabhu was a personification of sacrificing all his personal desires to serve his Guru Maharaj, to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Having said this, before we end, dear devotees, let us chant a very beautiful verse that Srila Rupa Goswami gives, which is so sweet that we can chant. Every time we come in front of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, we can chant this verse of Srila Rupa Goswami, and it's a heartfelt prayer that we can offer. Please kindly repeat. Matsamo nasti papatma naparadhi cha kaschana parihare pi lajja me kim bruve purushottama yuvatinam yatha yonim यूनम चो युवतो यथा मनो में रमते तद्वन मनो में रमताम त्वयि. We can mark it and we can chant. What is Srila Rupa Goswami saying? Mat samo nasti papatma. My dear Lord, there is no one as sinful like me. Naparadi cha kashana. There is no one as aparadi like me. Parihare pi lajja me kimbruve purushottama. My dear Purushottama, I am so embarrassed to even come in front of you. Hey Prabhu, मैं कैसे अपना शक्ल आपको दिखाऊं? I am so embarrassed. I feel so ashamed to even come in front of you. I am so sinful. How do I come? But my dear Lord, I have only one prayer. What is that prayer? Yuvatinam yatha yunim Yunam cho yuvato yatha. My dear Lord, my material mind understands only one thing. Just like a yuvati, a girl naturally gets attracted to a boy, and a boy naturally gets attracted to a girl without much effort. My dear Lord, manome ramate tadvan, manome ramatam tvai. May my mind similarly get attracted to your lotus feet unconditionally. Without any effort, my dear Lord, may my mind naturally get attracted. So, can we all chant this verse one more time before we end? Matsamo nasti papatma na paradhe cha kasyana parihare pi lajja me kim bruve purushottama yuvatinam yatha yunim Yunam cho yuvato yatha mano me ramate tadvan mano me ramatam tvai. Shri Rupa Goswami Pada ki, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Nityananda Rama ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari. Thank you very much. Hare.